You're listening to the Bob Duco Show as we work our way through the news hour, news and politics. All right, the last Friday of the month, we always try to get an update on what's happening in Michigan politics and a Michigan perspective on what's happening in national politics as well, with Senator Patrick Kolbeck, of course, state senator here in Michigan, and just a champion for everything conservative and godly and biblical and pro-life and you name it. And he's with me live right now. Senator Kolbeck, how are you today?
Hey, great to be with you, Bob.
You too. First, because a few things I want to ask you. Right now, as we speak, the March for Life is going on in Washington, D.C. Vice President Mike Pence just finished addressing the crowd. This is the first time ever that a sitting vice president actually spoke on the stage at the rally itself, and the first time ever that a high-ranking official like a senior advisor, in this case Kellyanne Conway, did too. So at this point, Donald Trump seems to be sending a very positive message of support to the pro-life community.
Absolutely. Everything from that first time he mentioned the Johnson Amendment back at the convention, all of a sudden it was a bit of a wake-up call. And I got to tell you, it's been getting better and better as every day goes on, especially since he's been elected. I mean, the whole restoring of the Mexico City policy, which prohibits funding of abortions internationally, that is a big deal. And that was a early first step that gives an indication that I think we do have somebody that takes his campaign commitment seriously. He takes his commitments, especially to evangelicals, seriously. And I'm encouraged by what I see for sure.
Boy, I am too. Now, I want to shift to another area of politics. I don't know if you happen to see today's Detroit Free Press editorial. Actually, this was from a couple days ago, rather. Detroit Free Press, that Trump's administration proposals are, they call them, quote, a moral stain. And just tears into Donald Trump's proposals here to build a wall and to defund sanctuary cities. And I got to tell you, Pat, it's amazing to me how the left takes these policies and blows them up into some kind of horrific thing that denies people basic human rights. Donald Trump is not saying, let's go out there right now and actively round up 11 million people and kick them out of the country. What he's saying is, you sanctuary cities, if an illegal immigrant in your city commits a crime and he's in jail, you can't just put him back on the street. You got to call the federal government, obey federal law, and let the feds know they can come and pick him up so that they can deport this criminal. We're not talking about somebody who's just an illegal immigrant. We're talking about somebody who committed additional crimes, yet somehow him wanting to do that and him wanting to build a wall is making him a fascist, according to this Free Press article.
Well, Bob, you've been in the public square for a while, and since I've started serving 6 years ago in public service, I've gotten an experience of the fact that it seems to be that the rhetoric in our discourse has been degrading little by little by little. And so people are trying to make their point, trying to sift through the noise of everyday life with more and more egregious assertions. And it really is getting difficult to go off and find that middle ground because people are immediately going for the jugular. And a lot of this is, from kind of right out of the playbook from Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals, a book dedicated to Lucifer himself. And as Christians, the challenge is how do you go off and engage in a world like that? You got to go off and make sure that we're reading from another good book. As a matter of fact, the only good book, the Bible, to go off and tell us how to go off and address that. Because, blessed are those who are persecuted. God's telling you that if it's for his sake, he's going to go off and deliver it. And I think what I've seen in Donald Trump in particular is a change from the guy that was on the campaign trail to one that's in presidential service. I think he surrounded him with so many people that are speaking faith into him, that are speaking biblical principles into him, and I'm seeing that he's he's weathering a lot better, and I know that's how you get through it, and that's how I get through it as well.
Right.
We got to return back to those bedrock principles of faith.
So true. Let me ask you, Pat, real quick in our last, we have just less than 60 seconds left, but what is the feel right now in Lansing? What's the feel in the state legislature regarding Donald Trump's first week in office on both sides of the aisle?
Well, I I'm dealing particularly with the healthcare issue right now. That's a passion of mine.
Yeah.
I've got proposals on how to lower costs and improve the quality of care for people, especially in the Medicaid area. And so there's excitement from my perspective and what I'm seeing with my colleagues, because he's starting to talk about block grants and Medicaid funds that allow us to actually provide better care for people that are on Medicaid while still saving taxpayers money. So from that, there's a lot of excitement. On education, there's a lot of excitement around expanded school choice options. Matter of fact, I just ran out of a meeting to get on the show here discussing that basic topic, which is going to give parents more options on how to go off and support their students' educational needs. So I think in general, especially, obviously I'm talking from a Republican perspective on it and a conservative Republican perspective, I think there's a lot of excitement, and we really like everything that we're seeing right now.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, we certainly appreciate everything you're doing there, Pat. Folks, it's Senator Patrick Kolbeck, of course, holding down the fort in Lansing for us, and we all appreciate it. And Pat, always appreciates your kind of update on what's happening from the Michigan legislative perspective in the state and around the country at the end of each month. And I appreciate you being with us today. Thanks a lot.
Hey, well, I appreciate you getting the truth out, Bob. You're awesome at getting information out to people, and that's what equips us to go off and get out in the public square in a way that allows us to focus on what's noble, true, excellent, and praiseworthy. So keep it up, my friend. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thanks, buddy. We'll see you, Senator. Take care. You're listening to The Bob Dutko Show.